In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Our united species already has emotional access to the future. Now, why would someone give a lecture on this sentence? Just like looking at the sky and seeing a bunch of birds moving together in a synchronized way. It is not too far-fetched to wonder about humanity's greatness. It occurred to me that, excuse me, it occurred to me at some point that the meaning to external form is internally originated. As a human being alive in 2025, it's a strange vibe. Nations are at war. Human beings are like, lazy and getting dependent on technology. You know what I mean? And we stand we stand existing in the same slowly, gradually evolving cultural programs that have been looping for years. That means if my great-great-grandfather came to somehow was like, became alive right now, it would be very easy for him to integrate into modern society. It wouldn't be too far-fetched. That's how unadvanced we are. And honestly, what can I say? The inspiration of it is, the argument is ultimately what is the most important thing for human beings right now? It's their future self. What's the point of their future self? To, in some sense, succeed in a future world. Everybody knows they can't avoid the future. Everybody's living for the future. We can't avoid the future. Yet everybody is in their own mini world room inside the main world room. We have to wonder about the greatest strategies known to man. Pretty much right now, wars are happening because human beings in the present are identifying the human value is identified based on the past to the present. But if you for a second put that game on pause and you just for a second wondered about what is your value in regards to the present to the future, it's as if the leaders of nations who are at war, they're looking at their ancestors rather than looking at their grandchildren, and that's their error. They're not looking at the future. So my whole point is, there's some explaining I got to do about the title, and once I explain the ideas, then it's very easy to wonder about the relationships of the ideas. So one view we have, at first I wanted to write our humanity, but then I thought, all right, let's write our united species. Okay? So we all realize we're part of one human species. For me, it's like I ask myself, all right, man, from this moment on, what is the only thing that is not as temporary as you? I wonder about this, like from my view. And I've realized, honestly, I've realized that it's about discovering the greatest ideas and passing it down to the future generations. And I'm saying at some point you're looking at a species that was irresponsible for everything. It then became irresponsible for a moment, then it became responsible for more than just one moment, and in some sense it began having a memory. And then at some point it began to have an ability to, it's like think of it this way. The body looked at reality became the first memory, but then that memory then the brain accessed another moment of perception, and it was like an additional memory. So when there's like more, when you have more than one memory, you in some sense have an endless imagination. This may kind of explain, perhaps, be an interesting theory on the root structure of the simulation we're in. But ultimately, it's everything. See, the thing about religion is so superior. So I'm a Muslim futurist. That means I purely identify with my value as the future, right? And I'm Muslim because I consider truth not to be in the world room. I consider truth to be I consider there to be a system administrator. Pretty much the options are like, is it empty or not? And so for me, this world room we're in, it's not empty. It has a system admin. Now, the system admin is not any idea, concept, shape, or form in the world. That means it's like, this is why when they said why in some sense was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last messenger, because he in some sense finished what Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, started, which was in some sense to point that beyond natural law there is divine command beyond the scope of human awareness. So think of it this way. Most human beings, they can notice natural laws, but they don't notice that there's divine laws. The divine laws is like how the world is moving, not just in accordance to your own will, to your own inner realms. And so we got to kind of wonder about like what emotional games, the emotional games of the soul. What sort of projections of reality are we perceiving now, and what is the value of our perception, right? Because to me, I was like, okay, if life was all about being physical, I would have just been like a physical entity, just, probably been like, a student of Arnold Schwarzenegger's teachings. But I'm saying no, there's something else. There's something called civilization, which means it's not just a bunch of beings grouping together. It's a bunch of intelligent beings grouping together. And the way they've grouped is that they've created an intelligent system. And the reason we're civilized is because the system we're designed into be requires a higher ideal. Do you know what that means? That means you're raised with like looking up to your parents. Do you know what I mean? Or whoever, whatever situation you're in. But I'm saying you're kind of designed, how do I say it? You're dependent on the context being okay before the concept can become responsible of the context. That's what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, I think in life, whatever happens, the soul's final strategy to everything is just like go forth. Do you know what I mean? That means it doesn't matter what life really was. There was a time, I have different views on this, but I'm saying that as a human being capable of having multiple views, it doesn't mean I identify with any of them. To some degree, I look at reality and I ask myself, what is the value of this? And usually human beings find value in what they can use. It's a primitive thing. That means the less civilized the individual, the more they want to use the world. Do you know what I mean? The more conscious the entity becomes, the more they want to wonder about what's the most advanced way to in some sense experience existence while we're here, right? And so since these questions aren't being asked, but somehow a random podcaster is asking them, we must. What is the task of a candle flame in a dark room? You shine as bright as you can, and then reality moves. See, right now it's a relationship from the beginning of our birth to our death that we are moving. Like, I'm not talking about even like entering the cyborg era of like the next 50 years. I'm saying like right now, we know we're here for a limited time, and every day when I wake up and wonder about what is the meaning of life, it's in some sense a kind of strange short-term and long-term analysis, where the long-term analysis is in some sense, what do you leave behind? Do you know? See, there's this thing that scholars said that every person's living in two worlds. One world is the world from the moment they were born to the moment they die. And then the second world simultaneously is the world that was here before them and will be here after them. So the whole point of it is that the planet will outlive us, the future generations will outlive us, but in regards to out of all the present values in 2025, what decisions shall human beings make in regards to what sort of context they want to live in? Like right now, you could choose to be like a ignorant national patriot, or you could choose to, in some sense, be a person who wakes up and it's like, are you kidding me? It's one species It's one species on one planet, like tripping over, like, chunks of land. So it's as if, like, to me, I'm like, you know why? They're like, yo, man, is 2025 an advanced civilization? I'll be like, sure, anything compared to the past is an advanced civilization, but compared to the future, not at all. 2025 is legit like a sort of lost soul era of mankind. Human beings are exhausted in systems of they're looping to survive, not realizing the value of reality can surpass the archetype that believes that ideological structure. I'm trying to tell you that it's like you can right now identify as the species. Right now, like, just try it. Next tomorrow, wake up for one day, try it. Okay, simulate your own unified species unity day for one day. Wake up, you know, if you can do it in groups of friends or whatever, like, sure, everyone can do, but the whole point of it is one day you wake up and you're like, for a second, if we were to wonder about the grand legacy of all species on the planet alive right now, we would see that the human species is at the top frontier. Do you know? So out of all the species that are alive on the planet, the main difference of the human kingdom compared to all the other kingdoms below it is that humanity is that we are aware that we're aware. It's like we kind of woke up to a world and we're like, yo, man, it's like, where am I? Like the moment where am I consciousness arrived. They're like, at what level of consciousness are you? I'm at that at what the F am I level of consciousness? I'm being playful, to be honest. What I'm trying to convey here, that I ask myself as a living being, what is the greatest value on this planet that I can pursue? And do you know what it is? It's kind of strange, but there was this scene in, I think it was the film Achilles or Troy or something, right? And that moment where the person grabbed the spear and like threw that spear from like a very long distance. For me, you don't understand. I feel like our lifetimes are just like our greatest efforts at trying to, in some sense, go as far as we can so the future generations can go further. Like, can you imagine right now if the future generations like came back? Like, do you know, right now the way human beings are living, if this continues, the future generations are going to be like, look at our ancestors. They were freaking looping. They were looping to survive. Not realizing the vastness of life surpasses an ideological system. In some sense, it is about how a species unites to immediately actualize all its dimensions. You don't understand. There's wars happening because there's fragmentation. But in some sense, when the context becomes the human familia, right? It's the whole idea that there's another sense of honor that you should have been feeling this whole time as a human being. Now, that sense of honor leads to the moment of feeling as if it's a united species. That means before you identify with your name, before you identify with your personality, background story, backstory, before you identify with anything, in some sense, you are a member of the human species. The mirror has testified. So as a member of the human species, that means you could have been designed as anything, but you're right now in the human design. And for me, I'm like, all right, if the meaning of life was our own truth, like if that was the approach, then why are we here in reality with others? That's the bizarre aspect. right? That means that you got to be careful, because anybody who's like, yo man, I know the truth and life is my own truth, those people don't understand what they're saying. It's a reaction to fear. They don't understand that in some sense truth can surpass the human archetype, that it's a massive responsibility, that all your ancestors lived, and like imagine how many of your ancestors prayed for the future and you're here now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like on some level, yes, we gotta honor the past. But if the past completely absorbs our attention, the future generations are gonna wonder why, in some sense, we didn't notice them staring. Anyways, guys, I actually have to cut this episode short. Um, but I'm just going to dive into the depth of it. I'm going to kind of fast forward, like, the imagery I wanted to convey. See, the whole point of it is human beings are right now in the present, right? And in some sense, when we remember the past, it's like an accurate, abstract event. Do you know what I mean? It's like a recording being pressed play, right? And at the same time, when it comes to the notion of the future, the human being has an ability to look at any design in front of its eyes and just for a moment, either eyes closed or open, wonder about, like you could look at a car and just imagine it in the sky like 100 meters in the air. The mind and that car 100 meters in the air of your imagination doesn't fall because the laws of gravity don't apply to it. It's as if the human being has been given a sort of system admin privilege by the system admin that is beyond the world room, in also a world that in some sense has moderators, which are simulated beings that have authority over sectors of the world room. See, the whole point of it is that you got to go directly to the system admin, and you got to acknowledge that if reality is a simulation, one way of seeing it is like, no man, reality is real. This is it. This is it. This is one view. Another view is, what if reality is a simulation? And what if what is going on here surpasses human values and human self-narrative? Now, what I meant by humanity, a human, or a united species having emotional access to the future, is simply because I write science fiction, and as a science fiction writer, okay, I can close my mind and, like, I'll give you any example. Like right now I'm looking at like a building in front of me, okay? So as a sci-fi writer, in my mind I could visualize that buildings in the future will technically be like spaceships. Do you know what I mean? Like the most intelligent building could fly away into space. So my mind can imagine, or even better yet, something which is my own passion, is sky cities. I'm someone who, in some sense, if I was born back in the day, like in medieval times, you know, even though I don't believe in reincarnation, but if I was, like from a fictional sense, right, I would probably be like, guys, there will one day be castles in the sky. There will be kingdoms in the sky. Do you know what I mean? I would be that dude. Why? Because in my mind, I have fathomed what it would be like to walk at the edge of a sky city, to in some sense realize that in some sense there will be the first children born in the skies of Earth, not on the land of Earth. Do you know? There will be the first child born in space, born in whatever planet. Do you know what I mean? So on some level, we're looking at humanity constantly advancing its context. Technology is a major accelerator of it, but ultimately it comes down to what human beings feel like. Like, this is the craziest thing. Like, you could give the most logical strategy to humanity, and at the end of it, the humanity is like, hey, I don't know if I feel like it, hey. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that the explanation of the title of the episode is merely the ability to look at anything present in your reality now and wonder about probabilities to it. That means just like how in Photoshop you can copy paste something. Do you know what I mean? You can copy paste something and like completely re-edit the copy pasted thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's layers to this shit. I'm trying to communicate that we're not just a physical being, and the proof of it is we're influenced by abstract events, and we also, aside from just having an objective and subjective reality, let's say for now in our inner realms, we have an emotional reality. And what the emotional reality means is that what is the original heart value? How is the new discovery aligning to the original heart value? Like, I don't know how to say it, but I'm trying to tell you that it's if you right now as a being have an ability to just wonder, okay? They're like, yo man, is wondering haram? It's like, no, it's not. We have to become fascinated by why existence is designed this way. We have to become fascinated by why existence has manifested in this way so far. We have to become fascinated by how human beings are storytelling all over a material reality that can be interpreted in endless ways. And what does it really imply about the linguistic simulation where all our social ideological constructs kind of like, you know, secretly live in? You know what I mean? It's like, yo man, where's your ego? I'm like, no way, bro. The ego's hiding in language. So I'm saying, if I'll give you an example. Like right now, there's a car in front of me. I can imagine, or right now I'm in a car. I can imagine, right? This is 2025, but in my mind, I could imagine that in the future there's going to be a car where you just press one button or you just give one voice command, you know, and it's all automated by like next level advanced AI that has never made a mistake or something, you know. And I'm saying I can imagine like just being in a car that just deals with itself, you know, and it's flying in the air, right? And I know there's like some next level force field or something protection there, you know. But anyways, the whole point of it is I can imagine being inside a flying car. Like right now in my mind, cinematically, I'm seeing the aerial view of it. Like right now, I'm in this parking lot, and I can see just like how an eagle flies off from a branch. How if my car started hovering into the air, like I would just like kind of look and be like, "Yo, man, the rooftops are kind of like, you know, leaving the horizon." And it would be that moment where I'm telling you, it would be a very kind of, probably it would be a very blissful emotion. I'm not like tuning into it 100% now. But I'm saying, like, in the same way I could imagine a futuristic probabilistic scenario to now, I can zoom into that same scenario if it's cinematic, and I can in some sense wonder about how would I now feel in the future probability of my mind. And then you extract emotions that are arising actually from a future condition before they have arose from the present. I'm trying to say it's all about the nature of what attention has access to. Anyways, thank you for listening. There's more to say, but to be honest, the whole point of it is our humanity, our united species, already has access, emotional access, at least, proof of that. Do you know what I mean? That means anybody who's fathomed their own, like everybody's gonna leave this world one day, and kind of like that level of sorrow. You're gonna understand at some point, like, yeah, man, this is the situation we're all in, right? This is the design of the simulation. This is, in some sense, if you're religious, this is God's creation, live stream, divine stream, you know. Anyways, thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful.